1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Rob Newman Podcast.
Hello, welcome to another edition of the Rob Newman Podcast. In today's edition, I am going to give 10 quick and dirty tips for health and fitness for small business owners. Yes, I know previously we've talked about why small business owners should run, but I had a flurry of one email in response to my podcast, which said my knees are knackered. I'm not going to be able to run. Well, to Tony, who wrote in with that, so am I. So I deeply sympathize. Running in boots and a Bergen does not do you any favors, even though in your 20s you feel you are invincible. Now at 47, I'm suffering those ill effects. So what I would say to you is, number one, get outside every day and get some fresh air. Very few people are unable to at least get outside the front door. However much of a state you may be, however bad it may be feeling, get outside and try and walk, at least if it's only round the block. Personally, I try very hard to get up half an hour earlier and do a 1.5 mile walk around the block of where I live. This means I have a start on my day to get my thoughts together, to get some blood circulating, and to get some fresh air and daylight. Vitamin C, vitamin D even being one of the most likely deficiencies that we have in the Western world because we sit in offices all day long. Number two, make sure you stay warm. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it is often known that you sit within breezy air conditioning, you sit within breezy offices, you sit with your back to a window and you are suffering. By sitting in that breeze, it might feel good in the middle of summer, but do it in winter and you're going to get some aches and pains, particularly as you get older. It's also one of the ways that the body regulates its temperature. So if you are cold often, of course, it's the way it regulates its temperature. What I mean is it regulates its circadian rhythms. If you are cold, the body is going to be out of kilter because it doesn't know when exactly it is during the course of the day. Now, the next thing you might think I'm being all new age here, but is burn some candles. I know this feels like it's one of those namby-pamby, softly things, and I'm supposed to be a tough guy martial artist, but candle burning is a brilliant way of focusing the mind, creating a sense of meditation, and actually putting a nice smell around your property or your office. Now, granted, you may not be able to burn the candle in the office if you have smoke detectors like I have, but at home, it is something that I certainly aim to do. A nice candle in a living room burning without the TV on can give you 5 to 10 minutes where you can sit, look at that flame, reflect, and catch up with your own thoughts in the day whilst removing the day-to-day smell of cooking, cats, and family. Number 6, I think it is, get up and stretch at least once an hour. Now, I know I do yoga and I know I'm obsessed with stretching, but it's one of those things that I would urge almost everyone to do regularly. Stretching, basic, simple stretching, is something that you will get extreme benefit from. 5 minutes once an hour will really pick up your mood, make you feel better, and help with coping with the stress and pressures of being a small business owner. Now, if you're looking for some inspiration and ideas, there are plenty of free apps available on iPhones and Androids. Or you might even head over to my yoga channel where I do 10-minute office stretching for those who are bound to desks. So far, my video has had over 3,000 views even. It's got 2 reviews, I think it is. And I am delighted to say that many people do seem to find some benefit from doing simple stretches whilst stuck in chairs. The next quick and dirty tip is one that will be said to you over and over and over again, but never skip breakfast. I am horrendous at skipping breakfast and running to Costa and getting a Costa coffee. Caffeine is not a substitute for food, however much I may try and make it to be. But I would urge you to start the day with something that's not just a bowl of cornflakes. Try and start with porridge, or with eggs, or with something that represents real food that your grandparents would recognize. If your grandparents, or depending on your age, your great-grandparents would recognize it as being food, and it doesn't come from a factory, it is probably something you should be eating for breakfast. I know many people say breakfast, oh, how can I face that? But that extra 15 minutes earlier by getting up in the morning does make all the difference. And yes, I do actually try and get up an hour earlier than is needed to allow me to go for this fabled walk and eat breakfast. But I know times when it slips apart and I don't do it, how different it makes me feel. So please, if you are a small business owner, make time for breakfast, which leads me into the next quick and dirty tip. Make sure you eat reasonably throughout the day. Again, it's so easy, and it's something that I fell prey to when I was first setting out, was to grab Mars bars and caffeine and donuts and all those other delicious things that sit within garage forecourts or on Greg's shelves. But it really doesn't help you. One of the biggest things that you're going to be feeling as a small business owner is stress, and by fueling your body with sugar and caffeine and fat, you are adding to that stress. Try and eat reasonable meals. One of the simplest ways of getting some decent food in you is to cook at night a basic meal of something that your grandparents or great-grandparents would recognize as food, and make an extra portion, box it up and take it with you the next day. If you were to head over to my blog, I have over 500 recipes on there which can be prepared in less than 30 minutes. The recipes are from 2008 through to 2012, when I did a lot more in that world and was on my break from accountancy. They were all designed to be cheap and quick and nutritious and hopefully taste decent. A lot of them drew on my experience of earlier in my career of when I worked in kitchens. If you want to link to that, please let me know. Drop a comment below and I will send something over. The next tip for you, which is something I completely ignore: swap coffee for green tea. Now, very occasionally I do this, and I do actually like green tea, but I'm a complete hypocrite with my Costa coffee. So moving swiftly on, as I've mentioned, try and eat decent food, try and spend some time on yourself, which means disconnect. Turn off the computer, turn off that iPhone, put it in a different room. Don't rely on it at nighttime as your alarm. Use an old-fashioned alarm. Have it somewhere else charging. Don't have it near your head. Get some time for yourself. Disconnect from all of it. It will make a world of difference. In doing so, you can create yourself as a priority. And even if you are a stressed business owner with young children, creating that small amount of time for yourself will help everybody in your life benefit. So that is today's 10 quick and dirty tips for small business owners in fitness, health, and nutrition. Thank you for listening. My name is Rob Newman. I look forward to seeing you in the next one of these.
Thank you for listening. Please remember that all of the views and opinions expressed by Rob are personal opinions and not professional advice.